Hello 1301 students. I'm sorry that I'm posting this video and notes just a couple of hours late today. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to go over some things to be thinking about as you're finishing up your rough draft for your comparison contrast essay. First of all, I'd like to say I really enjoyed the outlines and the thesis statements that you sent me. Hopefully you've looked online at the comments back where you turned it in MindTap. You should go there and make sure I didn't make any comments on your outline. I did occasionally put some things that I thought that you might want to change. But for the most part, I just said, good job, and checked them off because they were all looking really great. Part of the reason I think that they were all looking great is because I did give you this sample outline, and so I wanted to make sure that everyone had seen this and been able to benefit from it. Like I said, I feel like I saw this reflected in your outlines, and hopefully it helped you organize your thoughts for the comparison contrast. And so I just wanted to put this up here first thing this week just to remind you and just to make it visible. If you hadn't seen this, go back to week 6, look at this outline, and hopefully you can model your comparison contrast after this. I did have one question that I wanted to clarify. A number of you saw that I do have a body paragraph on the differences between these two characters, even though I'm focusing on their similarities. You could handle this the same way if you would like to, or you could also just put the differences within the introduction. It's kind of like the cause and effect essay in that I want you to focus on one or the other, but of course you need to mention the one that is not your focus. So obviously it's important that I mention how Huck and Jim are different, even though I'm going to focus on their similarities. So this is just a good example of how your essay might be structured. What I wanted to do in today's notes is actually go a little bit more in detail about what your body paragraphs might look like. I gave you this example from one of my body paragraphs in my example outline. I want to take another example of another body paragraph today in our notes and go even more specific. So I'm going to start there. Let me pop that up. So these are your notes that hopefully you've printed out for this week, and I want to start over here on the second page and kind of just give you another view of the body paragraph. So as you begin writing your rough draft that's due tomorrow, I want you to really think about each body paragraph, and my focus for this essay is going to be, are you giving me descriptive language in your body paragraph? Are you showing me a picture of what you're talking about? So I typically like to discuss this type of body paragraph as show and tell. So first you're going to tell me in your topic sentence what you're about to talk about. So the telling is really important. You've got to tell your reader that you're going to focus on layout in this body paragraph. Then every sentence following the topic sentence should get more and more specific, leading to the most specific description and details you can give about the two subjects. So if my topic is layout here, I'm going to reel the reader in and get more and more specific until I get to the meat of the paragraph here. The meat of the paragraph, I'm going to describe in detail. I'm going to paint a picture. This is where you're showing your reader. Sometimes this is hard for us because we know what we're talking about, but our reader needs to be able to visualize it and see it without having the screen right in front of them or without having known the character directly. So my example, I explored 2 websites and I gave an example of some really specific detail for the layout. So for my website A, I told you that the bright blue menu buttons at the top center of the screen direct you to pertinent places like Sources, Background, and Contact Us. The clean white letters of the tabs are easy to read against such a contrasting blue. For website B, I said website B's menu is in small 10-point font along the bottom left of the screen. Not only is the location and text hard to find, the mustard yellow and maroon color scheme makes it unappealing and almost unreadable. So I'm comparing layout and I'm giving you as specific examples as I can. I'm trying to show you what I mean and how I'm comparing the 2 layouts. You want to do the same thing with your movies and your characters. You want to be as specific and as descriptive as you can be. Now, important here, I said, don't leave your reader hanging off the edge of this cliff after your most specific evidence. Now draw the reader back out with several sentences of explanation. That's something that a lot of my comp students do, is you tend to give me real specific information and then you stop right there. So you stop with mustard yellow and maroon color, and you don't ever draw me back out and explain the purpose of that description. So be sure not to leave the reader hanging. And then finally, be sure that you have a concluding sentence that tells the reader again the main point of the paragraph and gives it significance. For example, a layout is essential to the user understanding and using a website properly. And so the layout can be very important in a website. And so you want to do the same thing with your characters or with your movies or with whatever you're describing. You want to give that paragraph significance and draw it back out. Many of you probably saw that on the comments of your second essay, conclude the paragraph. So be sure and do that. So I wanted to give you this map of what a body paragraph might look like as you are writing your rough draft to turn in tomorrow. So let's turn to the other side of your notes. This is just a schedule letting you know what's going on this week. It's the same process that we went through 2 weeks ago with your Essay 2, only now we're doing it with Essay 3. On that note, just to let you know, I plan on getting you comments back from Essay 2 this week as soon as possible. So I didn't get those back quite as quickly as I did last time. And so I'm working on Essay 2 grades and I'll get those back to you as soon as I can. So your rough draft is due tomorrow at 11. Be sure to turn that in because you can't participate in the peer review if you haven't turned in your rough draft by 11 in the folder that's labeled rough draft in week 7. Then we have the peer review. Just like we did last week, it'll begin tomorrow night and it'll go through Thursday night. This time you are going to be doing a self-review, and I'll get to that in a minute as well. Then you'll be able to see your peers' comments Thursday at 11:01. Don't forget that you also have a reflection in MindTap due by Sunday. You've also got a grammar assignment, although just a heads up, this week's grammar is just reading. There's no exercises connected to it. So all you'll do is read the chapter and MindTap will give you credit for reading the chapter. And then of course, Essay 3 is due Sunday by 11, turning it into Blackboard just like we did last week. So just specifics on your peer review. Remember, you must turn in the rough draft on time to participate. To remain anonymous, please don't put your name in the text of the document. You will receive one peer's paper to review, and you will also be required to review your own. I did put the self-review on this time, so you'll be able to access that just like you do your peer's paper, and it'll say self-review, and you'll go through the same questions and the same comments on your own paper. I will grade your review based on the feedback you give, just like last time. And also, just a side note, I was very pleased with most of your responses last week. I think that you did a good job of evaluating your peers' work. This week's will be similar, but it'll have some specific questions for compare and contrast. And I look forward to seeing your insight on each other's papers. I hope that you found that very helpful, and I'm excited for you to get to do it again this week. Okay, so I've quickly run through some odds and ends dealing with your comparison contrast essay this week. I just wanted to take a couple minutes here at the end of this video to also let you know that I am trying to catch up grading on MindTap. Don't forget that those zeros in MindTap are not zeros. They just mean that I have not graded it yet. And so I've been diligently working to catch up there. You should always go to Blackboard to see current grades. Also, I've been diligently trying to get you a current average in the class, but that has not happened yet. And so I plan to get you a current average when I give you back your essay 2. So that'll be weighing in the percentages of all of your daily work, of all of your essays, and that won't count any of the zeros that are left in MindTap right now. So please be patient with me. I'll continue to grade in MindTap and get those grades up to you as quickly as I can. But please feel confident that if you've been working in MindTap, if you've been doing your exercises, that grade should be pretty solid. As long as you've been participating and giving 100% on those exercises, you should be getting 100% in your grade. That's just not there yet because I haven't graded. So again, please don't worry about grades that you see in MindTap. Only look at Blackboard for current grades. Anything that I've graded is showing up in Blackboard. And then if you have a question about that grade, you can refer back to MindTap and see if I've made any comments. And then you could always email me if you have a question. But just to reiterate, I am trying to get you a weighted total so you can see how you're doing in the class. And so I will make it a point to get that to you this week so that you can see your current grade in the class. So I thank you for your patience, and I apologize for the confusion on MindTap, that it looks like you have so many zeros. Again, I'm working hard to get rid of those. Please be patient and know that if you're participating fully in the class, you're getting full credit for those. So on that note, I just thank you for your participation. I think that I've really enjoyed all of the MindTap exercises that I've gone back and graded. I feel like everyone's giving very helpful comments and very interesting insight into our chapters. So I'm really excited about that, and I've just really appreciated your participation. I look forward to reading your compare and contrast essays. Let me know if you have any questions concerning outlines, body paragraphs, or your peer review for this week. And again, the most important thing is to get your rough draft in tomorrow by 11 so that you can participate in peer review. So happy writing this week. I hope that you'll all follow this body paragraph structure and give me some really good descriptive detail in your comparison contrast. I look forward to reading those, and I'll be speaking with you next week about our next unit. Oh, I'm sorry, I just remembered one more thing. Our unit next week is going to change. Instead of being process, it's going to be definition. So I will get you a revised schedule out for that in the coming days. So just heads up, our next unit is going to be definition, not process. So I'll explain all that in an email later this week. Meanwhile, happy writing for comparison contrasts.